Welcome to the Workin' Podcast, the show where we talk about whatever we want so you don't have to. My name is Mike, and with me as always is my co-host, Jeremy. How are you?
Doing great. How about you, man?
Feeling weird.
Feeling
This
weird?
is the first episode we've ever shot of this.
It is. Got some butterflies going almost.
Every time I start a new show, I kind of feel like this, where I get the butterflies in the stomach. It's like I just ate a large meal, and it's like kind of passing through real quick, and you're like flying by the seat. You're like, I gotta get home.
See, I have more of that.
Not using that gross bathroom in the restaurant, because you don't know what has just happened in there.
See, I have more of that, like, first date where you can drive to feeling. You know, where you're in the car, you're heading, and you're scared
Absolutely that.
shitless.
Yeah.
And you're like, I could turn around, but I'm already heading.
Yeah.
Already heading.
I can always hit up someone else on Tinder.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
that's a story for another time.
Yeah, and you just get to the door, and you're about to knock, and you're like, I think I'll go home and play video games with the guys.
Yeah. So the way this show works is each of us brings a topic to the table, and we're going to talk about it. Before we do get to that, though, remember, before we get into the topics, liking the video and subscribing does help us grow our channel. And so if you're really into what we're doing, be sure to do it. And then on top of that, leave a comment in regards to our topics and let us know what you think of them, or your response, something like that. So
Absolutely. We'll take any feedback, positive, negative, any ideas.
Exactly, yeah. So leave your comments and your recommendations for what we can do on future shows. Maybe something like the location or something like that changing.
Or good food recommendations.
Always down for
Always
good food recommendations.
Want something to eat on.
So another thing to mention is that the way that this podcast works is that we're going to shoot part by part and then post them to the YouTube channel on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the full episode coming out at like the end of the week. So you might see a full episode on a Thursday or a Friday, just depending on how many people are on, how many topics there are. So just keep an eye on that. I'm sure on our social media accounts we'll post something like this week's podcast is going to be 3 parts or 4 parts or 2 parts or something like that.
And varying lengths. Some
Yeah.
longer
So.
weeks, smaller weeks.
Exactly. So from there, let's get into our first topic. We kind of have a big list of topics we wanted to talk about at some point. But my topic for this week is things we couldn't live without. And so I was kind of sitting there thinking about this when I was making this topic. And I don't mean literally live without. So I'm not saying like, oh, things I couldn't live without.
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Ha 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 ha.
Water.
So funny.
Water.
Ha 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 ha. The love of another human. Ha ha ha.
Beer. Beer.
So we're talking more like, well, I don't want to commit to that answer.
No, not.
I just definitely shot Miller Lite on my nose.
Yeah, like a little bit of cream soda. Oh,
That stuff is gross, by the way. I'm not a fan.
I'll choke it down.
Not a fan of Seagram's Orange Cream. That is no endorsement from the Workin'
Bad.
Podcast whatsoever. Sad.
So,
Sad.
wrong.
Rating out of Trump, sad.
God.
We're getting right into politics.
No.
The one
Moving
thing I
on.
wanted to avoid. Moving on. Oh,
But-
I wish I had papers to shuffle, like Jon
To
Stewart's
write on.
show.
Draw the
Yeah, yeah.
circles. No.
Yeah.
But the basis for things you couldn't live on were on the lighter side of things. Is that what you were going for?
Yeah. So just like, like all those millennials out there, like their cell phones or their social media and stuff like that. So I was kind of thinking about it, and I was thinking about like my daily ritual, you know. And so I was getting into it, and I'm like, well, I wake up, 8:30, alarm goes off, immediately right off the bat, alarm. Can't really live without an alarm.
It's hard. It takes a while to get up at that same time every morning.
It's how I start and end my day.
Yeah.
So if I'm starting every morning at 8:30, then I'm like budgeting my time to get to like the end of the day where I'm like, well, I should probably go to sleep at like this time to get like 8 hours of sleep, because without 8 hours of sleep I'm going to be running on empty the next day. So definitely an alarm. I could not possibly live without an alarm.
It's true. Do you set? See, this is what I do with that. On top of it, I set an alarm for a whole bunch of things. 'Cause I forget everything throughout the day.
I've been really bad about it lately. I've been doing this thing where my alarm goes off at 8:30, and I just barely wake up, and just enough to hit stop and then pass out. And then 2 hours later, I wake up and I look at my
bad.
phone and I'm like, 10:30.
Just
Shit.
the little death emoji that you're just like, ooh,
Yeah.
10:30, the day's done.
The cross-eyed, like, mouth
Yeah.
agape emoji. Yeah, so an alarm, definitely. But I was just kind of wondering what some of yours were. So, like, I'll just lay it out there. Like mine that I decided on were alarm and ability to go out and like get food at a restaurant because it's just convenience.
Yeah.
And then also, I guess, I hate to say it, but probably my phone, just because I feel like a lot of things that are important to my life are connected to that. So like social media, but like being able to immediately communicate with like friends and loved ones and stuff like that.
It is hard. It becomes an attachment of your hand after a while.
Right? Wait till
Yeah.
it's our eye.
Yeah.
And I laser in on you. And I call
you ever
you
use,
through this
did you ever use
camera.
those Apple glasses, or what were they called? The
Google Glass.
The Google Glass.
Google
Ooh.
Glass? Yeah, Google
I
Glass.
was
Yeah,
gonna say,
yeah. Those
those.
were interesting.
I wore one pair of them, and
Did you got to?
yeah.
Here's the thing. They discontinued those.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'll go on eBay and see if I could find some for cheap.
Ooh.
Nope.
Cheap. No.
Because now it's all resellers that are like, oh, $2,000.
The crazy story of how I got to is I was at work one day and a customer came in and he's fidgeting with his glasses the whole time he was ordering. And I just wanted to know, well, what are those? He said, these are the test glasses for the Google. And I went, oh, that's so cool.
man.
What do they do? And I'm not the biggest techie guy.
Yeah.
But he explained it to me and I was like, there's no way you could look at photos with that tiny little screen. Son of a bitch.
It's insane.
It's insane.
It's insane.
And I should have asked him if he worked there, because apparently, yeah, like you said, they're gone.
Yeah.
And those were, what you say, $2,000?
Like resellers now are trying to sell for like $2,000. It's insane. Should start selling some of the things that I don't value as things that I need in my life. And
Yeah.
see what kind of money I can make.
Yeah, so I guess the number one thing, which will segue into a later topic, is probably my books. And that's fun reading.
Yeah.
But we will get into that one a bit more later. And at the moment, I'd have to say my laptop, out of the function that it is how I go to school,
Mhm.
how I run my online business,
Mhm.
how we work some of this podcast, and much, much more.
Yeah.
So between those things alone, it functions as three pretty important parts of my daily routine.
Yeah.
So I'd say my laptop would be number one. Number two would, with the way my back is, a good pair of shoes.
Yeah.
I always got to have some good, because I'm walking several miles a day, and it's just like,
Yeah, I really don't value the shoes I wear. And
Oof.
and here's the thing is that I'm dumb for that. and I fully acknowledge it. And the issue is that I actually have like a flat foot.
yeah,
I don't have like the natural arch that you should have in your foot. And so my feet just murder when I walk long distances. Like when I go to like music festivals or I work like a long shift
when you
at
stand
work.
10 hours and it's 90 degrees out.
Oh my god. Yeah, every year that I go to Lollapalooza, by the end of the show, at the end of the night, my feet are just like ready to just like snap. They're
Yeah.
awful. So yeah, I should really invest in shoes
you
with like
need
a
a-
nice arch support.
Saves your back. Saves your back,
Oh yeah,
saves
that
your
too,
ankles,
yeah,
saves your
absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, nice shoes.
feet. True.
Yeah. I wanted to segue. I wanted to take this and fling it back,
All right.
if you will, to your first choice, the reading.
Yes.
I'm an English major, and I didn't put that on my
Oh,
list of things that I need that I
Oh,
can't live
that's
without.
fine.
So, I like reading. I don't get to read as much as I want, and the things that I have to read for class, not exactly at the top of my list.
If you
So-
drop your phone in water, you could throw it in one of his books, and it'll probably dry it and save it. It's
Dis-
that bad.
dis-
It's that bad.
Disenchanted English literature major here. So, I'll throw
Yes.
it back to you. Let you keep going.
Yes.
I value your opinion. I'm gonna let you continue. I'll be on Twitter. But if you'd like to continue, I'd absolutely love to hear it.
And back to politics.
And back out.
Back.
And here's the thing: throw it in there. Bring the net back in.
Yeah.
Cast it out. Bring it back in before comments can come in.
And then we just move on.
And throw it out there. And you see the comments in the horizon. You're like,
Yes.
leave it out there a little bit longer, because like the shark in the horizon. You know,
Yep.
Yeah. Back in. No sharks
visual.
today, son.
All right. Yeah. But reading though, yeah. I could go on all day talking about it, but
Yeah.
since I came back stateside, I went on a 6-month adventure several years ago, which we'll dive into another day. But leaving an area where it was all high stimulation technology, I needed to find an outlet that kept me outside. Yeah, too much of this. So me not being as intelligent as a lot of people in my local friend group, or other constituents as they call it.
I think that, okay, so this kind of gets a little bit too much into a different topic, but I think that I feel totally unqualified to talk about certain things. Just like you probably feel unqualified to talk about like something video game related, just because you've kind of stepped out of that boundary, you know?
Yeah.
So don't feel bad.
No.
Because there are definitely things that like you and our buddy Tom can talk about that I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
and just kind of autopilot.
That's me with video games.
Yeah.
I spent 30 minutes in a GameStop today and said, oh, Mario Party 9. That looks like fun.
There's a ninth one.
And then I realized it's 6 years old.
Right? Yeah, time flies, man. You know Halo 3 came out in 2007?
And to me, that still sounds like a new game.
Did you know there's a Halo 5?
I didn't. Which actually segue back to my point on books is it's amazing with how easy it is to get access to the pop culture world or the phenomenons. In the topic of books, I hadn't read the Harry Potter books until 2015. And at that point, the last movie came out 4 years earlier. But I had no idea of the entire series. Yeah. Of any of it. Any of the stories, the plots, the jokes, any of it. I avoided all that.
But are you saying Harry Potter is something that you couldn't live without?
Now, knowing about it, almost. I don't know how. I was in such a bubble.
It's probably one of the, like...
For an entire generation.
It's probably almost one of the literature and cinematic universes that, like, if it didn't exist, I would feel, like...
You feel like you're a part of something bigger.
Less of who I am now. Just because, like, that was such a, like, forming part of my childhood.
Yeah. So, that was insane to the fact that I missed that entire phenomenon, would you call it?
Gryffindor for life. Yeah,
I found out I'm more
movement,
of a
man.
Ravenclaw.
The movement.
They're way cooler.
The Ravenclaws?
Yeah.
They're like the Kurt Cobains in the corner. Writing their poetry. And
they're not Hufflepuff.
No, dude. Putting it out there. Send the Hufflepuffs back. Send them back.
Push them in the lake.
Send them back. All the Hufflepuffs, go back.
No, so, and I ended up binge reading them all. I read a book one day and then I watched the movie the next in 2 weeks. I basically just sat down, said, this is going to be what I'm doing the next 2 weeks. I go to work in the morning, then get off, read the book, and then the next day go to work, get off, watch the movie. And after 2 weeks, I remember walking up to one of my friends and was like, dude, have you read these or seen these?
Yeah.
These are incredible. And he looks at me like, yeah, where you been the last 10 years? So,
yeah, man.
That was a game changer.
J.K. Rowling was a billionaire and then donated so much money that she went back to being a millionaire and has since, of course, come back to being a billionaire, I believe.
I was going to say.
But, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, Harry Potter is so immensely successful that it spawned, like, spin-offs and stuff like that. So, I would definitely also put Harry Potter probably as something that I couldn't, like, possibly
What do you think of that new movie?
Like, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
Yes.
I liked it a lot. There's parts of it that I feel like they could have done better.
Did it seem like the main character almost never talked in the entire movie?
I think that's kind of his... I think the point of that is to, like, make it more of, like, a group cast. Like, I think Harry Potter handles that a lot better. I think the core Harry Potter books handle that a lot better. But I feel like Fantastic Beasts does it well enough, because I think they're trying to be like, well, he's not necessarily the main character. Like, Newt Scamander is the main character, but he's like a co-main character.
Yeah.
To, what's her name? The woman who works for the magic department.
Yes.
And then her sister and Jacob something, the guy who owns who wants to, like, start the bakery.
Yes.
So it's kind of
who
like...
does start the bakery.
Spoilers.
It's 6 months.
It's a whatever.
No.
If you haven't seen Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, we're sorry.
It's 2017.
There's gonna be like 5 more.
Yeah.
5. Really? Are you sure?
5 more.
5 more.
5 more.
5 more. So does that round off your list of like?
That was probably the most eye-opening one the last couple years. Fiction-wise, I also read the book called The Alchemist. Have you ever read it by Paulo? I'm gonna butcher his last name. Coelho.
No.
I think I definitely just butchered his name, but I probably read that book in 2 hours.
But is that something that you could live without? Let's talk.
Oof.
Let's talk like essentials. We'll put down reading as a whole as something.
Reading
that you
as a
can't live
whole, I
without.
mean that.
And we'll get into that soon because that's gonna be like a whole thing.
You know,
that we
not
talk
that-
about. But because I don't want to delve too much into your topic for today, which spoilers. His topic is reading, but
I'd say The Hobbit. I could say The Hobbit.
The Hobbit as
Yeah.
its own separate entity from reading is something you
Yeah,
couldn't. Live
I'm
without.
I'll have a Hobbit tattoo here within a couple of years.
Yeah.
So on the ribs. So yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
So
So aside from reading, what is something else you couldn't live without?
and we're not including family, any of that.
Let's talk material.
Materials.
I feel like that's probably what this comes down to is like material, like optional things that
I'd say my
honestly
desk,
feel like you couldn't live without.
My
Your
desk.
desk.
my personal desk.
This desk right here.
No,
This little card table.
no. This card table is
You can't see it because
It's out
the
of
desk
shot.
is out of the shot for this one. I don't know how we're gonna really incorporate it. We have a weird tripod deal right now, but we're gonna probably get a little bit taller tripod in the future. But yeah, the desks are not level,
no,
which is
So
something that really bothered you before we started.
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
like, don't worry,
If you
I'll
can
just
see it in the
take it
shot-
out of the shot.
Mike is about 5 inches taller than me, and his desk is already like higher, and my desk is down here and wobbly as hell.
Oh, that's fine.
But yes, so my desk I have at home. I have a rolling standing desk that you
Yeah.
can crank down to a sitting desk.
Yeah.
I notice anytime I'm trying to work on anything, maybe this, a project, writing, sitting too long,
Mhm.
I get lethargic. You kind of get bent over.
Yeah.
You get cramped. You get lazy.
You kind of
start
you
sitting
go
like
into your
this.
you go into your naturally
start
most
eating-
comfortable position.
You start eating Cheetos off your chest.
You're
and
telling
just-
me, dude. Let me tell you, long benders where I'm like, I'm gonna get pizza. I'm gonna play video games.
You just start-
I'm not gonna do anything.
You start
tonight.
to get to this, and then the next day you're like, oh my god.
I'll like recline back.
why?
And I'll recline further back, and I'll take the pizza from the desk to maybe like right here, and I'm eating it, and I'll like switch to watching a movie or something, and then that pizza, my arms are out.
Oh,
so
yeah.
where am I gonna set it back in front of the desk and reach
No,
there?
no, you're just gonna-
Pizza is coming up here.
You just.
And at this point, I'm as far back as I can go.
Oh, you're trying to make as big as a platform as possible.
And here's the thing: all hope for self, appearance gone out
Oh,
the
yeah.
window. Windows over there, it's out.
See, that's like the
And-
most vulnerable moment. If someone walks in, you're deep like this.
And that is where the
You're
head
in-
begins to retract into what I call thumb status. In that, like, your head retracts into where your body, honestly, indistinguishable for a thumb. And so that's where you've got the pizza here, you're at your most vulnerable, and head is like,
Oh yeah. So
And
that's
the
why I
wheel
find my standing desk and its own wheels, so I can just take it anywhere, and I just find it. I got better posture. I'm sitting up. I'm not a thumb. I'm more of kind of like a middle finger. Standing up straight, proud. God damn.
calling me a thumb boy.
I am calling you a thumb.
Called me a thumb with my pizza back here, my thumb status, and I got my cheese pizza, and there's a movie, and I'm in the comfort of my own room, and
That's
I'm
a-
like,
Episode
This
2,
is
I'm going to
fine.
bring him a pizza. He'll be in that same chair.
this is fine.
Yeah, so probably my standing desk. And whenever I just get sick of it, easy crank.
I wish I had a standing desk.
Oh, it's great. Except the setup.
Yeah.
And the teardown.
We'll get into that more, because I actually kind of want to talk about that with your topic.
Yes.
But, okay, so aside from your standing desk,
That would be, yeah.
is that your list?
Yeah, those would be mine.
That's a pretty good list.
Yeah, it's
That's a
pretty
solid
simple.
list.
I'm generally one now with stuff.
Yeah.
I do yearly cleanses of clothes,
Yeah.
objects, movies, DVDs. Why do we still buy those anymore?
Movies, DVDs, and Blu-rays.
They're going out.
I've got to be honest. Physical media is probably something that I can't imagine not being in my life.
Really? All right.
Because since like the beginning for me, collecting like video games and books and stuff like that, I feel like I've kind of amassed this collection to the point where I'm like, why stop now? And
Do you feel like it's kind of become a child of its own?
I feel like it's growing out of control.
Like a child.
And here's the thing: a kid stops growing. A collection does not. And that's where you get into danger territory. But the only time a kid doesn't stop growing is when you keep feeding that kid pizza. And that is also danger zone.
No, they're going to grow this
because
way,
that's
then.
when the kid is like, help me! I'm 400 pounds!
They're back to the thumb.
And here's the thing, they don't revert into thumb. You're stuck in thumb. And when you are in perma thumb, it's hard to come back from perma thumb. So,
but no, hear me out on this metaphor.
And my collections, my physical media collections that I can't live without, they are burgeoning on perma thumb.
Hear me out on this then.
So
they start as small collections, and you're very proud of it because you started to amass something. And then they enter, we'll say, the 4 to 10 phase, and let's say it's a good kid, not one of those like neighborhood brats you want to throw down the sewer.
Yeah.
You start to really feel some pride as they start to, run on their own, do little things.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pile starts to get almost too big. You fill a couple shelves up, or a full shelf, and they hit 12 or 13. And then they get attitude. And then it starts to get out of control, and then it controls you. Then it goes away to college, and then you spend all your money on it.
Let me take this analogy one step further.
Oh, no.
You're a child. You're a baby Jeremy. Ripe age of 5.
Good looking.
Not so much a baby anymore.
That was real good looking. Chubbier back then.
Given. You get your first video game system, you're like, I got this crisp game in front of me, disc/cartridge, whatever. What was your PS1?
First game system, Sega. Yes.
God, that's why you stopped playing video games.
I started with the best.
So I can already see all the Sega kids just like disliking the video now.
No, I started with the original Sega.
So with the Genesis.
Yeah, and then
I should hook up the Genesis.
It got the little add-on top part to it.
The 32 bit
yeah.
thing.
That was a game changer, and then
this is so bad that I can't remember the name.
But yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I got that, and then the first kind of modern was the PlayStation 2.
Did you know that you can take that thing and like make like a disgusting tower out of add-on cartridges and stuff like that?
I did not.
Theoretically, you can. And now this is probably like small class because I've seen like horrible monstrosities stemming out of a Sega Genesis, but you can take that 32-bit cartridge.
How high are we talking?
And then take Sonic. Is it Sonic and Tails that has the part on the top for the cartridge?
Sonic 3.
Sonic 3, and you can take Sonic 2,
put it in the back.
Sonic and Tails, and pop it in.
Yeah.
And so you can have like this 3 cartridge like
I
disgusting
did that.
monster.
I thought you were gonna say put another 32 on a 32.
I think you can like stack that thing. It's insane.
This is about the extent of my video game knowledge here, but I do remember with Sonic 3 you could put Sonic 2 or Sonic and Knuckles in there.
Yeah,
that's about the extent.
You could play as Knuckles in the games, which was insane.
That was
the first mod support, if you will. But
see that already just.
And so video games, I guess, would probably be something that if they weren't in my life, be like, how do I fill the time? What now?
I would say that's how I feel about sports.
It's ingrained in my like who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you could make games though then, or is that gonna still count for you?
No, probably not.
No.
Thank you guys for checking out this part, and after weird camera thing that we have to deal with, we'll catch you in part 2.
Technology,
unless you're watching the full video, in which case, here's part 2.